Well, before the trial of the century, O.J. Simpson had humble beginnings right here in the Bay Area. He leaves a legacy as complicated as the life he lived.
I'm not shedding any tears.
Definitely devastated that he passed away.
Family members say O.J. was surrounded by his children and grandchildren when he died at the age of 76, following a battle with prostate cancer. Many of his achievements in life were overshadowed by one of the biggest real-life crime dramas in history. It all started in 1994 when he led police on a slow chase in a white Ford Bronco on a Los Angeles freeway, following the killings of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ronald Goldman. 95 million people watched that chase unfold in real time. A news pilot who covered that chase even says the moment gave birth to reality TV.
With the flip of the switch, we had almost 100 million viewers around the country and parts of the world watching this infamous slow-speed pursuit, this surreal spectacle on television.
Simpson's trial became just as much of a spectacle. America watched as he stood trial for the double murder. 105 million people around the world tuning in for the verdict of not guilty. And to this day, the case and the verdict has divided the country.
I do believe in my heart that he was guilty of the crime.
Jerry spoke and he was acquitted.
Simpson was ordered to pay millions to the victims' families in a separate civil trial, but they received just a fraction of it. They said they will continue to fight to collect Simpson's assets even after his death. Goldman's family vowed to never speak Simpson's name. In interviews, they would only refer to him as the killer. Goldman's father and sister said O.J.'s death has ended their hope for true accountability. Well, Simpson did not end up in prison for murder. He was locked up for 9 years in an armed robbery case in Las Vegas. He was convicted on 9 counts of armed robbery and the kidnapping of 2 sports memorabilia dealers at gunpoint. He eventually got out and lived in the Las Vegas Red Rock Country Club, often posting on social media.
My health is good. I mean, obviously, I'm dealing with some issues.
Yeah, that was one of Simpson's last social media posts, downplaying his cancer status. Before his fall from grace, Simpson was a household name, bursting onto the national scene as a star USC running back. He won the 1968 Heisman Trophy, spent most of his pro career with the Buffalo Bills, and finished his career with the Niners. Off the field, Simpson was a commentator, pitchman, and actor. And Simpson has roots here in the Bay Area. He grew up in San Francisco. Both he and his sister were raised in a housing project in the Potrero Hill neighborhood. Even his sports career has San Francisco roots. He played football at Galileo High School, graduating in 1965. 4 years later, footage from our archive shows that he returned to visit the school. And we mentioned he went to USC, but before that, he attended City College of San Francisco. Our Wilson Walker takes a look back at the complicated legacy with one man who knew O.J. his entire life.
But it's something that when you can say 2 letters, you just say O.J., just say O.J., people know who you're talking about. Around the world.
For Timothy Allen Simon, the letters O.J. are more than the San Francisco sports hero who became notorious. He knew Simpson from the time he was a child.
Well, I'm a native San Franciscan, and O.J. is maybe one of the most famous native San Franciscans of all times. I've known his family my entire life.
He says the story of O.J. Simpson is one that has changed this country. It was, at first, the fairy tale success of a young man famously from the city's poorest neighborhoods.
You might say this is what I'm trying to do now. You know, right now I'm trying to make it. I came from a pretty rough neighborhood around here in Hunters Point, around Hunters Point.
I mean, yeah, it was tough. It was tough. Life is tough. So when we say a tough community, I hope that your viewers don't necessarily view that as because of its zip code necessarily.
And I feel if I make it, that would be a good example for other kids up there.
You know, not out of wealth or opulence, not with a silver spoon, but in the belief that if you apply yourself, if you work hard, that you can become something great, and he did.
And then there are the other chapters of the Simpson story, the chase, the murder charges, and the trial of the century.
I would say that maybe the trial of 2 centuries, and the fact that it is still as vivid in the minds of those who witnessed the trial. And I think this is an important point, that it created an industry within media itself.
a media frenzy surrounding a trial that would run right through America's racial divisions.
Not guilty of the crime of murder.
And the reaction to the verdict in Simon's mind, another part of a long, complicated story that has riveted the nation and challenged it.
He was acquitted by a jury of his peers, which means that he's innocent. But yet much of America, and I would include, in no offense, media, decided, well, even though he was acquitted, we're going to make the determination that this man is guilty. And that is un-American. And if we're going to call ourselves Americans, we should stand true. We should be devoted to that concept, that construct of our Jeffersonian democracy.
We have posted more video and interviews from OJ's early football days on our website, KPIX.com.
For many Americans, the reaction to O.J. Simpson's death has been as complicated as his legacy.
I'm not shedding any tears.
Definitely devastated that he passed away.
Simpson, nicknamed the Juice, burst onto the national scene as a star USC running back, winning the 1968 Heisman Trophy before going on to a Hall of Fame NFL career.
He just flowed through the air like he was walking on water.
Off the field, Simpson was a commentator, pitchman, and film star. But it all came crashing down with the brutal 1994 slayings of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ronald Goldman. Millions of Americans watched the slow-moving police chase of Simpson's white Ford Bronco and the televised legal showdown that followed, dubbed the trial of the century.
Not guilty of the crime of murder.
The case and the not guilty verdict has divided the country to this day.
I do believe in my heart that he was guilty of the crime.
Jerry spoke and he was acquitted.
Simpson was ordered to pay millions to the victim's family in a separate civil trial. He later spent nearly a decade behind bars for a 2008 conviction that stemmed from an armed confrontation with sports memorabilia dealers in Las Vegas.
My health is good. I mean, obviously, I'm dealing with some issues.
Aside from his social media presence, Simpson's final years were spent largely out of the spotlight. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Mrs. Robertson.
Superior Court of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the people of the state of California versus Orenthal James Simpson, case number BA097211. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Nicole Brown Simpson, a human being, as charged in count 1 of the information. Superior Court of the State of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the people of the State of California versus Orenthal James Simpson. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Ronald Lyle Goldman, a human being, as charged in count 2 of the information. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, further find the special circumstance that the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, has in this case been convicted of at least one crime of murder of the first degree and one or more crimes of murder of the first or second degree to be not true. Signed this second day of October 1995, Juror 230. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is this your verdict? So say you one, so say you all.
All right, counsel, Mr. Simpson, would you be seated, please? Let's have it quiet in the courtroom, please.
The defendant didn't look like he had much trouble moving when he left jail on his way to court this morning, but the defense wants O.J. Simpson to show the jury how his football injuries have slowed him down. It's part of his defense team's request to allow Simpson to make a short opening statement of his own.
Number one, Mr. Simpson could participate by giving a brief portion of the opening statement. And two, that during the course of the balance of the opening statement, there may be times, and will probably be times, I'd like Mr. Simpson to be able to approach the jury to demonstrate certain things that I think are very relevant in the course of that opening statement.
What this is really is just an attempt to ask the court's leave to allow the defendant to testify without being cross-examined. And there is no such right, I don't think, anywhere in the country in opening statement, or perhaps even in the world.
The prosecutors asked for a one-week delay because the defense added some prospective witnesses, including a new one who could put Simpson at home when his ex-wife and a friend were killed. The defense claims that police detective Mark Furman interviewed a witness who says she saw Simpson's Ford Bronco in his driveway between 10:15 and 10:20 p.m. It would help further the defense strategy that Furman is a racist and planted evidence like the bloody glove at Simpson's home.
If he suppressed evidence and claimed to find incriminating evidence, I think we hardly need go further before we have the right to ask him, and by the way, haven't you said on past occasions that you are in favor of genocide? Because what he really said was, let's put them all in a pile and burn them all. And I haven't heard that come from anyone since Adolf Hitler.
And the bottom line, Your Honor, is that it would be inappropriate to allow the defense to go on a fishing expedition, raising an inflammatory issue of racial animosity in front of the jury when there is no evidence to support that nexus.
The prosecution tried to bar last-minute witnesses and then argued for more time before opening statements. The judge bristled, saying he had already ruled on that.
Did you hear what I said about 2 minutes ago?
I'm sure I heard everything the court said.
Okay.
Then he gave both sides a warning of how he would control the trial.
I anticipate that both sides will spend a lot of time walking on the edge of the legal envelope here. And believe me, I will do everything I can to keep you from going over that edge.
And finally, some instructions to the jury.
You have two duties to perform. First, you must determine the facts from the evidence received in the trial and not from any other source. A fact is something proved directly or circumstantially by the evidence or by stipulation. A stipulation is an agreement between the attorneys regarding the facts. Second, you must apply the law that I state to you to the facts as you determine them.
Manuel Ramos, KPIX 5 News.
Immediately report to the court any act of juror misconduct that you see.
O.J. Simpson soared to fame as number 32 for the Buffalo Bills.
I'm sorry for all of it.
And plummeted to infamy as inmate number 1027820 in the Nevada Department of Corrections. In between, Simpson led a life filled with more surreal drama than all of his various film and TV projects combined.
O.J., are you a suspect? Come on.
Mass media experts say Simpson's sensational televised low-speed chase, arrest and murder trial
Doesn't fit, you must acquit.
stand as the first reality show, and perhaps the greatest three-ring television phenomenon ever. At one point, the world heard O.J. Simpson's ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, say,
I don't want to stay on the line. He's going to beat the shit. Wait a minute.
Then later, Simpson was charged with the horrific murders by knife of Nicole and her friend Ron Goldman.
Ron and Nicole were butchered.
The trial made lawyers and even witnesses household names.
Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the crime of murder.
When the jury freed Simpson, celebration erupted in parts of Los Angeles. But Simpson would never recapture his idol status. Simpson first sprinted into the national spotlight as the Heisman Trophy-winning running back at the University of Southern California. Then 11 spectacular years with the NFL vaulted him to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Simpson cashed in on the popularity, becoming a pitchman for Hertz and an actor, becoming well known for the Naked Gun movies.
O.J. Simpson, as you've never seen him before.
Simpson played a lawman on screen and ran into trouble with the courts off-screen. He lost the multi-million-dollar wrongful death suit brought by the families of his ex-wife and Ron Goldman, then moved to Florida. In 2000, Simpson was accused of assault in a road rage incident in Miami. He was found not guilty. In 2005, he was found guilty and fined for stealing satellite television. Then in 2007 in Las Vegas, police arrested him on several felony charges, including kidnapping and armed robbery. In that case, Simpson and armed accomplices raided a hotel room in what he called an attempt to just get back some of his stolen belongings.
And I didn't know I was doing anything illegal. I thought I was confronting friends and retrieving my property.
The Nevada jury never bought his story and instead sent him to prison. He was released on parole 9 years later in the dead of night with no fanfare and no bright future, just the distinction of arguably the greatest rise and fall in pop culture history.
Actually, Jim Hill asked him to turn his initial. We'll show you as much as we can of the car.
Simpson has just pulled up. The Simpson followed by a huge convoy of police officers.
A good number of top men like Lou Alcindor and Tommy Smith of San Jose State have said that they won't participate. Do you have any comment at all about their action?
Well, I don't see how, well, I guess Lou could participate, I don't know, but what they think is right, I guess they must follow their beliefs. Well, right now I don't want to be involved in it because I'm not in track. You know, I'm running track, but when it comes to Olympic time, I'll be in football, so I have no comment on the matter.
What do you think is the effect of this kind of publicity?
Well, it's hard to say. I guess you have to, time will tell. Right now you can't say. I guess they have some goals and objectives they're trying to reach, and we'll just have to wait and see if they get them.
Athletes like Jimmy Brown and Bill Russell, the basketball player, have come to make more and more public statements about racial and social matters. What's your opinion about the athlete's position in this kind of thing?
Well, I think it's good because guys like Jimmy Brown and, like you said, Russell and a few others, they have shown that you can make it, you know. They have went into sports and became very successful, and now they're in a position, you know, to more or less talk because they can say, I did it and you can do it, you know. And, well, this is, well, you might say this is what I'm trying to do now. You know, right now I'm trying to make it. I came from a pretty rough neighborhood around here in Hunters Point, and I feel if I make it, that would be a good example for other kids up there, you know, other people up there. Right now, I'm trying, you know, I'm working towards a goal, and if I reach it, I guess that would be a good example, just like Jim Brown has been to me.